I am Iphicrates, son of Athens, soldier of innovation, and commander of change. The annals of war remember many names, kings, tyrants, conquerors, but too few recall the reformers, the minds behind the methods. Mine was such a legacy, to reshape how battles were fought, to temper bronze and flesh with thought and strategy. I was born in a city of philosophers and orators, yet I chose the sword over the scroll, though not without the wisdom of both. My early years were spent amidst the shadows of the Peloponnesian War. I saw firsthand how rigid traditions and noble arrogance had failed us. Athens needed something new, and I would be the one to forge it. In command of mercenaries, I learned to move quickly, to adapt. It was there I tested my first reforms. Light armor for mobility, longer spears for reach, smaller shields for speed. Many scoffed. The old hoplite phalanx had ruled Greek warfare for generations. But my peltasts, nimble and precise, changed the game. At Lyceum in 390 BCE, we proved it. My lightly armed troops ambushed Spartan hoplites and routed them, something previously unthinkable. The Athenian commander Callistratus said of our feat, Iphicrates did not just win the battle, he changed the very idea of one. Athens sang of our victory. Sparta, the terror of Hellas, had tasted defeat not at the hands of a greater force, but a smarter one. My campaigns took me beyond Greece. I served in Thrace, marrying the daughter of King Cody's eye, solidifying Athenian influence and learning the ways of tribal warfare. I fought in Egypt under the Persian satraps, and even served Artaxerxes II at times. In one campaign to aid Nectanebo, I against the Persians, I led Greek mercenaries through the Nile Delta's labyrinthine waterways, adapting hoplite tactics to marshland combat. Loyalty, to me, was owed to reason and purpose, not merely city or coin. Such pragmatism made me enemies at home, but it opened doors across empires. In politics, I was no stranger to conflict. My fellow generals often distrusted me. Some envied my successes, others feared my reforms. I was recalled, tried, accused. Athens was a city that loved debate as much as it loved drama. Yet each time I returned to the field, my methods vindicated me. I led expeditions against rebellious cities, defended Athenian interests in the Chersonese, and trained troops for future generations. My work in the Chersonese around 357 BCE to secure Athenian influence after the social war is lesser known, but no less important. There, I reorganized garrisons, introduced tactical rotations, and negotiated with local rulers, all while ensuring minimal bloodshed. Even in administrative roles, my mind was ever on strategy. I was not always victorious. War is a fickle master, but even in failure, my strategies endured. Others adopted my reforms. The Macedonians, yes, even Philip and his son Alexander, would build upon what I began. Philip's introduction of the Sarissa and the flexible Macedonian phalanx owes much to the groundwork I laid. The historian Diodorus Siculus would later note, had Iphicrates lived to see Macedon rise, he would have found his own legacy marching across Asia. I cared less for titles and more for outcomes. My reforms were not born of theory alone, but of blood and grit. I walked among my men, listened to them, fought beside them. And when I returned to Athens, I lobbied not for monuments, but for change in training, in equipment, in doctrine. Some of those reforms were slow to take root. Others spread like wildfire, and so I pass into memory, not with the roar of tyrants or the gold of emperors, but with the steel of transformation. Let historians speak of my campaigns. Let soldiers whisper my name when they lighten their burden and lengthen their reach. Iphicrates was my name. Innovation was my banner. And though the city-states may crumble, though their empires fade, the art of war, I reshaped endures in every strike that favors speed over weight, wit over brute force.